Good evening, everyone. Appreciate your attendance here tonight. This is our special city town hall meeting. And my name is Kent Cagle. I'm the city manager, and I'll try to be the moderator tonight. A few things of business to take care of beforehand. The mayor and council will all give some short presentations, and then there'll be opportunity for the public to speak. And we'll have a microphone out there for you if you'd use that. There's some forms if you'd appreciate it. We would appreciate it if everyone that speaks, if you would sign up. Now, since this is not a typical town hall because we have the whole city council here, it's a quorum. And because of that, the Texas Open Meetings Act applies, and we can't just have any topic that's on anybody's mind. So what we tried to do were list, if you got a copy of the agenda over here on the wall, a lot of really broad topics that covers a lot of ground to try to give everybody as much latitude as possible to cover any topic that you might want to talk about. But just in case it doesn't apply at all to any of these things, it would have to, we couldn't discuss it in this meeting because the public has to have notice according to Texas Meetings Act whenever the council discusses city business in a quorum. So what we'll do, we'll start off in the order we're gonna go in is the mayor and mayor pro tem, and then we'll do our two at-large positions with Councilmember Alvarez and Segarra, and then council districts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And with that, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out tonight and being a part of our town hall meeting. It's very important because this is a part of our community engagement, keeping engaged with the community. And with that being said, I want to talk about the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. The importance of the comprehensive plan is my definition. I have brought some notes with me on things that I think is very important to the residents to know about our comprehensive plan. If we're gonna invest over $30,000, it's important that we have the highest discipline in ensuring that the integrity of this comprehensive plan. That means if we're gonna invest in it, we have to use it. So I want to really highlight the importance of our comprehensive plan. As you know, that we always have and try to get community feedback. This comprehensive plan is from staff, city councilors, our investors, our stakeholders, and most important, our community. So you being involved in this particular comprehensive plan, we had several events. We had walkthrough in neighborhoods, so you can even do a survey online to have your input in this comprehensive plan. So it's very important to me. So what is a comprehensive plan? A comprehensive plan is how we're gonna move our city forward in the next 5 to 10 years. It's a city of one. It's ensuring that every resident within the city of Killeen, that we provide the highest quality of life and also services. But we have to have a plan on how we're going to do it. Next slide, please. This is our identity statement. And this identifies who we are as a city, who we are as a resident in a community, and how we interact with other neighboring cities. So this is what, when we was going through the comprehensive plan process, this is what the residents, staff, and community, we all decided that this best represent the city of Killeen. And I'll give you time to read it. Next slide, please. The big idea. To me, the big idea is, okay, We went through all this trouble, some people say it, but I think we went through the process. And the process is, how do we pull all our resources together to best serve our community? And I have some notes on growth and fiscally responsible ways. It's placing a priority in ensuring development and growth that happens in the existing place that are already supported with city services and infrastructure. Why is that important? If we're gonna grow, we should already have the infrastructure and city services already in place. If we do not have those services and infrastructure in place, it will have us to be in a position where we have to raise taxes and fees. And we don't want to impose that on any of our residents. And for the areas that do not have the city services and the infrastructure, we have to have a plan. We have to have a timeline on how we're going to implement that. It's easier if you have a developer that goes out and they already developed the land. And then we can tap into that. But if we do not have that already in place, how are we going to grow our city? And we want to minimize taxes and fees imposed upon our residents. So it's very important that we have a responsible way on how we're going to develop. The city has done an excellent job, I would say, with the positive community culture. Like right now, tonight, you're at a town hall meeting where you can give your input. Community engagement is very important to me. We have events downtown, and we're working together throughout the community to connect each other together. And if you have any concerns about your neighborhood, we already put a system in place so that you can contact the city and tell us. So community engagement is very important. If you really want to be involved with the city, get on a board or a commission. That's when you have input. You have a buy-in on what we do. We have a senior advisory, you have input on the senior center and the events and programs that you want. If you want to get on planning and zoning, learning how we zone the city and plan out the city. That is so important for community engagement. Our local business ecosystem, and I like this part. This council has already invested in our small businesses by giving them grants. We not only want to keep our businesses that we already have throughout the city, but we also want them to grow. And we're working with EDC and other stakeholders throughout the community to bring in more economic development. But one of the things that we hear a lot from residents, we want higher paying jobs. I agree. But with higher paying jobs, we have to have the skill sets to meet that demand. So we have to work with businesses, as we have soldiers coming off Fort Hood, and we have spouses that were in the military, that retired in this area, and their spouse is still on active duty. We have residents that have gone off to different colleges and got so many skill sets. So in order to get high paying jobs, we have to have the skill set here for a company that may want to come to our area. So that's important. So we as a council may need to look at how do we get the skill sets and use those skill sets to give to KEDC of the workforce, that they may have that information to bring in businesses with higher paying jobs. And improvement in transportation and network. The council's already working with Hill Country to have more bus routes. But I made a note on that because I thought this was very important to share with you. We must continue to ensure our streets and roadways are designed to serve all users in a safe and efficient way. What is all users? It's individuals that ride a bike. It could be someone with a truck, a motorcycle, or a car. And we want to ensure, as we develop our transportation network, that we have a flow. What do you mean by flow? We have to connect streets together. You have to be able to connect that when you won't be stopped in traffic for a long time, won't be congested. And it also will reduce our accidents throughout the city of Killeen. So when you look at the transportation network, it's the whole system connected together. And that is so important for this comprehensive plan that we looked at. Our neighborhoods are more than subdivisions. You live in a neighborhood, as we get ready to continue to develop our city, you would want all the amenities that a neighborhood deserves. I want to be connected. I want everything to connect with me, that if I walk out my house, I should be able to walk down to the coffee shop. I should be able to go to the post office. I should be able to have everything within our neighborhood that is walkable. And I think that's important. When you build these big neighborhoods and you have to drive 5 and 10 miles to get to a grocery store, or if you have to get to a barber shop, all these things should be connected together. We should be able to get in our car, drive, and I should be able to go to Fort Hood or anywhere without having to go through 5 stoplights, 4 roads to get over to the next side. So connectivity and how we connect our community together is very important as we grow. In a vibrant downtown, I am one of the biggest fans of downtown Killeen. And I have made a note here that we hired a downtown revitalization director. And her top priority should be the resources, services, and programs to support the revitalization of downtown. And that comes with policies, grants, talking to the stakeholders that are already downtown, and keeping the community informed on how we want to develop our downtown. Every city should have a downtown area. So we're doing a good job at it. Can we do better? Yes, but we need the resources put in place in the program to continue to grow our downtown. And the most important thing about the comprehensive plan, that you had a say in it. And that we must, and I stress this again, we must have the highest discipline, because we only have one budget, the highest discipline in ensuring that we maintain the integrity of this comprehensive plan and that we go through with it. Thank you.
Okay, I am the Mayor Pro Tem. My name's Kenny Wilkerson. I'm a council member at large primarily. So go ahead and start off our slides. First of all, thank you, Mayor. That was a great presentation. Pop those up there. All right, great. Ken Wilkerson, I'm Mayor Pro Tem. Also, I am a council member at large. That's primarily what my position is. That's what you elected me to do, is represent you here on the council. Okay, if you go to the next slide, we have a few things that are commensurate with the position that I hold. Of course, you see there, council member at large, Mayor Pro Tem, as well as the chair for the Crime Solutions Committee, which met yesterday. This is an innovative way of addressing crime here in our city. It's a root cause analysis and trying to find out how to get people who would potentially commit crime to have other alternatives available to them. So if you're interested in, coming with your ideas, we're always open. Our next meeting is going to be January the 4th Wednesday. I think, yeah, 4th Wednesday of January. And come out, participate. It'll be right here at 4 o'clock over in the conference room. Right now, we're focused right now on shoplifting and property theft. So that's what we're going to kind of key in on and try to find out what's the causes of that and what can alleviate some of the people or who would ever do that. We want them to have alternatives to that and understand why they do it and try to get to the root cause of it. The audit committee, I serve on the audit committee as well. The Tiers Committee, if you don't understand what that is, that's the tax incremental reinvestment zone. Yes, I'm sorry, couldn't think of the word. Reinvestment zone. And so what that is, that's an opportunity, that's a instrument that we can use here in our state to raise funds in certain areas to deal with certain growth that we have. And some of the things that we're looking at on the tiers right now is one of the things is the retooling of Rancier to raise funds for that, as well as some other things that we have in mind for that. The subcommittee member, what that is it just is I'm on a subcommittee here within the council to select certain members of our community to serve in other capacities, whether it be the animal advisor. For me, it's the Animal Advisory Committee, the Board of adjustment, fire prevention, and fire and prevention. Okay, so, all right, next slide. These are some things, I'm gonna address some things that you need to know as a citizen here in Killeen. And let me just go ahead and give you a little familiarization of what my mindset is here. Coming on to city council, what I realized that where people were reaching out to us to handle things that maybe we weren't authorized or chartered to take care of. And so it's important for citizens to know what we can and what we can't do. As I was speaking with one of the commissioners, he says it's important for people to understand that the list of things we can't do is significantly longer than the list of things that we can do. And so sometimes, you know, whether it be a grocery store, I mean, I've heard, you know, some ideas, and they're great ideas. If you know, could we just take taxpayer money and put up a grocery store somewhere? We can't do that. We're not chartered to do that. But what we can do is we can incentivize things like that. And I think this council here has done a phenomenal job. Councilwoman Gonzalez taking the lead on that, is trying to incentivize certain things that we definitely do need in our community. We don't have the authority, we don't have the funds or resources, and we're not chartered to do those type of things, but we definitely can work hand in hand with other partners throughout the region to make that happen. And I think we've been doing a good job of doing that. So the voters, you elect council members who in turn hire the city manager. Mr. Kent Cagle right here, he's the executioner. Is that the right term? He executes our plan, our direction, he executes that, okay? So on a daily basis, he's the one here every day, managing the staff, managing the different departments that provide the infrastructure, the services, or whatever you need here in the city. He's the one that oversees that. He's educated, experienced to deal with that. He has a wealth of experience dealing with that in not only Killeen, but other cities as well. And I think he's doing a good job. So with that, you hire the council to provide that type of direction to him as to which way we want to go. You hired us. We work for you. You're our only boss. Each one of us up here, you as a citizen are our only boss. Now keep in mind, you individually represent 1/160,000th of a person, of a unit. So does that mean that you snap your fingers and automatically we get it done? No, it's a consensus that builds. It's ideas. Yes, we do come up with leadership and we come up with ideas of our own, but ultimately it's your voice. We're the representatives for you. That being said, you need to understand also, anything that happens, no one works unilaterally here. Not one of us. Not even the mayor. No one can snap their fingers and get something done here at the city. So when you see us sitting up here on the dais making decisions, that's how it's done. It takes 4 of us, 4 council members, to get anything passed here and done, to get anything passed or done here in the city. And that's a good thing, because that does build that consensus that I was talking about earlier. So with that, I think I kind of addressed the mayor is the head of the city for ceremonial purposes, but if you see the mayor making a unilateral decision, we're in a bad state, because she does have the authority under certain conditions that when the governor says under emergency conditions to take, because you need that type of, you can't manage by committee at that point. So it's important to understand what kind of government we're under. We're a council manager form of government, and that's the way we work here in Killeen. So next slide. These are 3 things that we ultimately do and how we get things done for the city. Now, I will share this with you, and I can only speak for myself, but if you can recall, how many people here, how many council members can you recall that have ever gone beyond the position of city level government, other than Mr. Scott Coster? I'll wait. Okay, that's because that's not typically what happens. Typically what happens is we're your neighbors representing you and what you want to see done. So that vision or that direction that you want to see, we're just neighbors, we're just individual citizens here in Killeen who volunteer to step up and run. It just happens to be the way it's done. It's an election, and you select us to come up here and represent you. what we have to do is adopt a budget. It's important that you know that, you know, everything that happens in Killeen, just because it happens in Killeen, is not the city council. It's important to know that your tax dollar, we don't get the entirety of your tax dollar. Matter of fact, we get about 1/3 of it. So a lot of people think that, oh, I'm paying, you know, so many thousands of dollars and that's coming to the city. Not necessarily. KISD is gonna get the largest proportion of that. We get about, like I say, about 36, 37%, somewhere in that range. The county gets some, CTC gets some. So it's important for you to understand that when you pay your taxes, you're paying to more than just this municipality. What we are responsible for is developing the infrastructure, the services, the city services that you see, and making sure that they work the best that they can with the funding that we have available to us. We're also responsible for adopting, amending, or striking down ordinances or codes that you see, whether that be, you know, we just recently did some ordinance changes into how you can build here. Now, we have the authority to do that kind of thing, but ultimately, a lot of the laws that are set, that you are abiding by, are really kind of set by the state. So it's important to know that. So if you're out there and you get a ticket, for instance, from KPD, you know, our police force, they take an oath to the state and the federal government for those laws, and the ordinances that we have also put in our books. But generally speaking, a lot of the laws that you see around here are not necessarily set by us, but we are responsible for some local codes, okay? All right, and establishing departments and standing ad hoc committees. Again, whatever it takes for the infrastructure to get put in place, we are responsible for either coming up with a department that takes care of that, or having a committee of citizens that deals with that. Okay, next slide. All right, these are some of the other local municipalities, organizations, or bodies that you need to know about, okay? Again, you don't know how many times we get beat across the head and back about, take for instance, let's just use for instance, I would get accosted at the grocery store because, well, why did you open that school out there without developing that road? Neither one of them is ours. We didn't open the school, and it ain't our road to widen. So we will address the problem, and that's what we are doing now. But it's important to understand the differences in the bodies and the responsibilities that they have going forward. I think that will help you as far as now, just like we work for you, so do the Bell County Commissioners. So does the state representative. So does the governor, for that matter. We're elected by you, so our only boss is you. Keeping in mind, again, you're one of a population of people. So these are some of the ones that you need to know. The state representative. Currently, right now, I think we have 2 for Killeen. We have Mr. Brad Buckley, or Dr. Brad Buckley, as well as Hugh Shine, Mr. Hugh Shine. So you need to know these things, because they do affect your quality of life right here in Killeen. The funding that we get from the state, you need to know who's down there advocating on your behalf, or who's representing you. You need to contact them and be involved with that as well. Bell County elected officials, from the judge to the commissioners, the district attorney, tax assessor, all of those things matter. And some of the things that I hear on a daily basis from citizens that they expect that the Killeen City Council can affect. We do have a partnership, and we have communications, a conduit of information between those bodies, but we're not the lone body in a lot of instances that take care of that. So just for expectation management, you need to understand that. School board, big one. One that I always hear, you know, well, why don't y'all do this with schools, or why don't you do, it's a Killeen independent school district. The independent is pretty big. They do things, they are a body unto themselves, and when you cross the boundaries of a school or a school, that's their purview. Okay, so you need to understand that. And I would like to, I would say that we need to work better together. to fix a lot of the problems that we see. I would love to see that, and I think we're working on that, and I think we're seeing some movement in that direction with some of the bodies that I mentioned here. The last one I'll talk about is the, WCID. We actually have one of our commissioners here from WCID #1 tonight, providing you with the water that you drink here, so. You need to understand these things, where they come from, that Killeen Housing Authority as well. All right, one that I did not put up there, and I'm gonna end my presentation by understanding the expectations of economic development. We get a lot of comments about how economic development does, and to the mayor's point, we can do our part of producing the infrastructure needed to attract certain businesses, but altogether, we have a partnership with the Killeen Economic Development Corporation, okay? If you don't know what that is, you need to look into it. The Killeen Economic Development is our partnership arm that really is responsible for going out and putting us on a global and national stage to try to attract some of that. Now, keep in mind, that's a very hard job to do. Can you imagine how many cities there are in the state of Texas? Well, now, you just multiply that by the amount of cities that we have globally that still want those type of positions. So when you see a Meta or Amazon go up somewhere, they chose one out of millions of different cities that they had available. So if we don't win that one, doesn't mean that we're not trying. It just means that our Economic Development Corporation is out there beating the bushes, trying to get certain types of businesses here to Killeen, okay? So with that, the last slide has my information, as well as I have a couple of cards here for you if you'd like to take my information. As many of you probably here can attest to, if you reach out to me, I probably will get back with you that day or the next day, okay? I'm not one to just tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I know to be true. And as a neighbor, I'm going to probably give you the insight that you may not want to hear, but it's going to be true. I can tell you that. It's going to be true to the best of my ability, to the best of my knowledge. And I'm going to try to work with you to fix whatever problem you have. And that may just mean sending you to one of the previously aforementioned organizations. So with that, I would like to thank council, the mayor, and I would like to really thank you for tuning in. If you're here, you're looking at us on TV, or if you're here tonight, that means you really are engaged and you really do care about what's happening to your city. So thank you very much for coming out tonight.
You guys good? All right, I don't have much to say. I just want to say thank you for coming out here. I think that this is something new. 10 years that I've been on the council, I'm glad to see that this council is active in doing something like that. I can tell you this is the first time that something like this has been done. But I think that the main purpose, and the mayor pro tem did a good job, so I'm not going to repeat everything they said, so I don't want to go into that. I want to save time, because I think the main purpose is to engage with you guys, the citizens. So I'm just here to hear back, get that feedback of things that you want to see, and hopefully when we come back and we get together as a council and stuff, we can prioritize everything. Maybe we'll find something new, because I know a lot of times we're doing the same thing over and over, but it's not because we want to be repetitive. It's just because a lot of times that's just what it takes to try to get things done. And I wish that we can do something and it gets done. I enjoy being on the council because I've seen things that were started about 10 years ago just recently get done. And so it is a long process. Everything does take time. There's so many people involved. I wish that there was a magic wand and one person can do that, but as the mayor pro tem said, that's not possible. This is how the city council is made up, which is a good thing. You know, no one person can come up here and make things happen. I can do that in my business, but I can't do it as a community, as a forum. You know, we all want grocery store, we all want that, but those are things that have been worked on for so long, we've been trying to track. But again, I'm gonna be real quick, and I just wanna pass this down to the next council member, so, we get enough time to hear from the citizens. Thank you.
Same here. My name is Jessica Gonzalez, Councilwoman for District 1 here in the city of Killeen. So District 1 is our north side of the city of Killeen. So again, to kind of explain how we got here and what's really happening today. We got here because we had citizens that came up to our podium time and time again on our Tuesday night meetings and said, Council, we would like to be able to hear from you and the vision and the direction of the city moving forward in a different format, because we don't really get a chance to have this kind of conversation and engage with you all during those Tuesday night meetings. We heard from our citizens, we answered the call, and then we implemented this town hall to be able to engage with you all and get your feedback, and then also share with you the visions that we have for our city moving forward. It's really important that we be able to connect, and so I'm glad that you guys are here. Thank you very much. So when it comes to District 1, next slide please. District 1, there's a lot of improvements and important things that we're really working on there. So of course, top of mind of everyone is safety. Safety first. We have a very active police department. Within District 1, what we are doing differently that we've never done before is we now have a task force, a team of 5 that are working diligently, and hopefully they will continue to grow. But part of that is we implemented that team to come into our downtown to have representation on the ground for our business owners who are in that area, so that they can start to feel a level of safety and security. There is a long way to go when it comes to safety, but we are making those strides. Improved infrastructure in our downtown. The roads have been redone. We've got a long list of plans that are in place to help improve the area as well. And then also our community unity. District 1 is, our city of Killeen overall is a culturally diverse place, right? District 1, right now we have the opportunity to apply for a Main Street designation. That is really exciting. I'll be happy to talk with you offline about that, what that really means for our future growth, economic development, and as they've said before, the ability for us to attract new businesses to this area. It's extremely important. There's a lot of wheels moving there, so I'm excited to share that with you guys as well. And then also business opportunities. I'm not gonna belabor that point, but it's extremely important. We really want District 1 to be known for its unparalleled results. I'm so proud of this council. I'm so proud of the citizens that have actively engaged and given their positive feedback and constructive criticism, but also with a solution-driven background. So we don't just want to talk about it, we want to be about it, but we want to find a way that we can actually make some real viable change and make things happen within our district, within our city as a whole. So I'm very, very, very pleased for all the feedback that we've received from our citizens regarding that. Next slide, please. So we talk about uniting our community for a better tomorrow, and that's really what that is. We want to make sure that we are engaged, but that we're also coming up with viable solutions, and that we're trying things that we've never done before. And that's where we're at right now. Progressive action, making change, and doing things that we've never done before so we can get a different result. And it will take time, but we are moving our wheels in that direction. Next slide, please. As our mayor mentioned before, a comprehensive plan is extremely important to our future growth and development. We all agreed that we did not want to see this plan sit on a shelf, as we felt that had maybe stalled out sometime in the past before. There are active things that are in place and wheels that are moving with regards to our comprehensive plan, our future development, our businesses that are lining up to be able to expand our city and improve our areas. The comprehensive plan is essential to our future growth. So again, if you have not made yourself familiar with that, please take a look at it. It is on our website at killeentexas.gov. I'll be happy to also sit down with you and talk to you specifically about some of those things that are in process or we're investigating right now for District 1 specifically. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I'm going to conclude there because again, like the rest of our council, I would like to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to that conversation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm slides come up. So this will be real quick, like everyone else says, to give you time also. I'm Councilmember Riacos Adams in District 2, next slide. I was appointed to a vacant seat back in March, and since then I got on the audit committee. I'm now the chair for it. I serve on the K-Temple Policy Board, and that's one of those regional committees that kind of bring all the ideas together for master planning, be it with transportation or infrastructure issues mainly. I represent the city with the Bell County Health District, member of the Sister Cities Board, and I'm a subcommittee member as council member, as the Mayor Pro Tem explained, for two committees. That's the Animal Advisory Committee and the Board of Zoning and Adjustment for the airport. And I've served as a citizen member on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I represented the Planning and Zoning Commission on the Board of Zoning and Adjustment, and then I was on the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, helping or advising the opportunity on putting together the plan that we put together. And I chaired the Community Development Advisory Committee for 2 years. Next slide. This is my district. I know it look kind of small, but we're bordered on the north by, a lot of people ask me, where is District 2? We occupy the southeast side of the city. We're bordered, the airport, well, the airfield and the golf course is no longer in District 2, just the same as where the McDonald's is on W.S. Young and up the Terrace is no longer District 2. And when you come on south down Tremere to Elm Street, then you're gonna jog over east to W.S. Young, and then you're gonna go south on Cunningham, back west. As you see here, I don't have a pointer, back west towards Featherline, and then going south towards Chaparral. And then you see in the far south area, most people think that's ETJ, or a majority of it is. But there is parts of District 2 that actually are on the south side of Stillhouse Lake. I actually went down there when that tornado passed through. Thankfully, the residents there didn't get hit, because it made that sudden turn east, just south of us. Next slide. There are about 43,000 residents, approximately in the last. We used to be the largest district because we had some of the most growth over the last 10 years. So we kind of had to cut us off and give the other districts some people to make it fall within the law. I already mentioned we occupy the southeast area. We have, I think, seven voting precincts that make up our district, and those are listed there. We do have green space, and that's like a patch of woods or some green lawn that the city owns. We share playground space with a few elementary schools in District 2. We have a running trail, and we don't have any actual parks. However, the last zoning approval we did in one of the developments off of on the Yao property, there's a park being donated to us. And then there's limited bus transportation. Because I know in the past, most people that live on that side of the city have their own cars. Sometimes we want to be able to catch the bus to come down here too, especially when our downtown gets revitalized. Next slide. These are some of my focus areas. I set out to try to establish neighborhood advisory committees. It's an unofficial thing where I have a few people in each neighborhood, and notice I said subdivision as opposed to neighborhood. And you saw where there's 43,000 people, and I need to find out. There's no way I can hear from 43,000 different people at once. So I kind of reached out as I meet people, say, if somebody sends me a complaint, I call them and we talk about the complaint, and depending on where they live, I ask, can you be my eyes and ears in that district? Earlier this year, back in the spring, the council approved to establish some youth employment program. It's going to address youth enrichment, youth employment, and hopefully that turns out to reduce youth crime. We're starting small, and if it's successful, hopefully we can expand that. So another focus here is increasing transportation and improve roads within the district, because that in turn will improve the roads and infrastructure throughout the city. Chaparral and Stagecoach are two of the roads in my district that we hear the loudest about. There's action being done on both of those roads. I've personally been harmed by Stagecoach, but we're acting on I also like Smart World. Anybody ever play Sim City? Oh, no? Okay, I'm the only nerd. But in Sim City, every time you build so many houses, you need to have equal amount of commercial and industrial. Because you don't have the jobs and you don't have that other side of your culture that makes the city thrive. So every time we make, and I've talked to the development director and a little bit about the city manager about potentially, and they're doing it anyway because these guys are smart. Where before we make decisions based off our comprehensive plan, that we're not putting too much residential, that we have people living here, but they only live here, and it's a bedroom community. We want to make us that star in the middle of Texas. And then, like I said, people complain. So if you're not being treated fair, you can call me, or you don't think your service being efficient. I think our city staff have been very responsive to our phone calls, but I do ask that you reach out to them first. Because usually when a council member calls, it's an elevation. Granted, the city staff don't work direct for us, but we keep the city manager informed. And you don't want your boss calling you about something else. So city manager calling the executive director of a department about something because we called him, that we try to work that out. So when you elevate it to us, it means it's an issue. And then I want to promote every time. So I'm a member of numerous organizations. So when I'm traveling, I'm talking about Killeen. If I'm asking the question, why not Killeen? If you have an office in Waco and you're doing business with Fort Hood, why not Killeen? And then I try to turn those people over to the smart folks that actually handle the negotiations and bring them here. And if they come, great. If they don't, oh man. And then we keep trying. And then, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, the other agencies that are in the area, I think it's important that we have, because all of us provide a service to our citizens. So it's important that we maintain. So I'll attend. Well, it's kind of hard to attend a school board meeting because it meet on the same night as us. But I'll attend or at least speak to members of those other bodies to get some information that may affect the decision the city council has. And even if a citizen calls me to ask about a particular thing, I either refer them or I'll call and ask a question, or we all meet together for coffee or what have you. Next slide. This is my contact information. Email is the same email for this, not email. The mail is the same mail for the city. My email is radams@killeentexas.gov, and that is my phone number, 254-290-5330. I usually get back to you within give me about 48 hours, but 24 or either that same day, but I try not to let it go more than a day. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Nina Cobb. I am your representative for District 3. Let's take a look at the slides. You know, they say everything in Texas is big. To a constituent or to a person that's out in the community, something so small is so important. And we do, as a council, we do try to address that. You know, we get this title of council member or councilwoman, and we get to represent a part of the city, District 3 or District 1 or District 2. But when we're on that dais, we're looking at everyone. We look at our districts and we strongly say, hey, our district is important, but every district is important. Every person is important. You can't please everybody. I want to let you know, that's the biggest thing about being a councilwoman. You can't please everyone. But if you can please 99.5% of your constituents in your district, I believe we're doing a great job. And I think our council and our mayor, we're doing a great job. Look at District 3. District 3 sits in the middle of District 2 and District 4. I really think Riakis and Michael are stealing some of my people and some of my land and green space and all of the good things that's happening. But it's just good to know that we're working together. And you know what? When you just see our faces, oh man, we got a bad staff. Because I work, I don't know everyone's, I work at least 14 hours a day being a public health nurse, along with being a councilwoman. So I feel mighty good when I call Miss Judy and I say, Miss Judy, can you get this to Mr. Cagle? Or if I call Public Works, or if I call engineering, and they're there. Our support system in District 3 and in this city is wonderful. So I'm not doing anything alone. We're working together. The antidote of a successful community is togetherness. It's not one particular person. It's that person who's on that street that's watching everything. It's that person. I think our district is good. I really do. We got these little scales that we look at poor, good, very good, and excellent. We're on our way to excellent as soon as we take care of these next objectives. That's District 3. The next slide, please. Where do I serve? I forgot that since I'm a public health nurse and I'm working every day out in the public, I forgot I serve on the Public Health Board. So I didn't put that up there, but we'll see KEDC and the Senior Advisory. We can keep going. It's too easy. Our city staff have prepared a website that you can go on and you can find anything that you need to know about any councilwoman or any councilman. It's too easy to get the information. My objectives as a councilwoman and for our district is to maintain the health and safety of our communities. So important. Listening to community ideas. Sometimes people want you to talk, but sometimes I just believe if you're silent and you just listen, you don't have to return an answer for everyone's question as long as the work is being done. As far as reaching me, it could take up to a week. I'm just gonna be honest. It could take from 24 hours, and I know my mayor just gave me that look because we're to get back with a constituent right away. I know them looks. So what that could mean to you, if it's an emergency, you got me, because I'm gonna forward it to Mr. Cagle. Mr. Cagle is gonna look at the staff, and then they're gonna come back and say, where you at, Ms. Cobb? And I'm right here with you. But I'm human and imperfect, just like each of you. Sometimes the days are long, and I don't want you to think that you're being forgotten and that we're not gonna get the job done, but we will. And that's what's so good about having a supporting staff that's taking care of business. When you fall down, you get up. The other concern that I have are communities that have little lighting. We went to one of our meetings and Encore was there. They got some fantastic ideas they're gonna bring back in reference to lighting in the community. And sometimes it's something simple, simply cutting down a tree that's in front of a light pole. So when you see those things, you just need to tell us. And continued support of infrastructure. We know that we're working on our roads. We know that we're working on our communities. Again, what did I tell you that the antidote to a successful community is? It's togetherness. Dragging people down and being negative and not coming with a solution, it doesn't help. We need the positiveness, and when you come with a problem, you need to come with an answer so that we can listen and brainstorm together. I told you when you elected me that I would be just in my dealings. I would be honest to everyone, but above all, I would be fair. I will continue to be fair. I will continue to be honest. And if there's anything that I can do for you, give me a call. If you don't remember the numbers there, it's all over the Killeen website. Let's keep going. And now, this is so important. We're here in a town hall. We're not gonna get to everyone's questions. We're not gonna be able to tell you everything that you need to know about this city. But if you take this class, the Killeen Citizens Academy, classes are starting January. You will know how this city operates. And when you're ready to ask a question, you'll remember your time in that class, and you'll know where the heartbeat of this city is. Remember, the antidote of any city is the togetherness of a city. I'm ready to listen.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you all for coming out as citizens to learn about what's going on in the city, hear from your council members and understand the initiatives we're working towards, as well as the progress. My name is Michael Boyd. I represent District 4. Very strong advocate for our district, happy to serve. One thing that's important to me is improving the city, improving the district, advocating, as well as finding solutions for some of the age-old problems across Killeen. So I'll go straight to the presentation. I represent District 4. District 4 is West Killeen. The only southern portion of District 4 is the tail that we have that goes down 195. So the best way to describe when you're in District 4, if you're at the HEB off Stan Schluter and you're heading up towards Clear Creek, everything just stopped going west is District 4. Home to the college, we got 38,000 individuals there, fastest growing district in the city right now. We have a large veteran population, a large student population. We're home to our airport, home to Fire Station 9, where we have a new ambulance that went into service this morning, by the way. We're also home to both Central Texas College and Texas A&M University, so we have a lot of economic drivers in District 4. If you don't mind going to the next slide. So, District 4 priorities. Last year, I spoke to tons of citizens to learn what the particular issues and headaches were for our district, and these are literally what they are. That the road repairs, lack of parks and open space, neighborhood speeding, police presence, etc. And so it's been my initiative since I've been on this council working to resolve these. This presentation, real quick, is not going to be long. I wanted to give you all progress that's actually happened in the district within the past year or so. Next slide, please. So Robinette Road, as we all remember, was very rough. You could break a tooth just driving down Robinette Road. It was recently built and overlaid through a maintenance project. This was the $10 street maintenance fee at work. So this was actually activated to repair the road and restripe it as well. Next slide, please. Bunny Trail, where are we at on Bunny Trail? So Bunny Trail is prioritized and funded for reconstruction. We did an open house in May at Haynes Elementary. You see all the citizens that came out to give their input. The consultant provided 3 different alternatives for council to consider in the future for the road design. As you can see, notes were made. People were filling out cards and writing on posters and all that stuff to get input on the new Bunny Trail. Next slide, please. Watercrest Road. This just last month in September, we had a meeting at Live Oak Ridge Middle School to discuss the redesign for Watercrest Road. Watercrest is also prioritized and funded for reconstruction. Citizen provided input and feedback is being incorporated into this. I do want to mention, because we get a lot of questions about why isn't Watercrest fixed for years, is prioritizing funding, and the same with Bunny Trail, is because these roadways take a long process. There's right-of-way acquisition, there is citizen input, there is planning, there's engineering studies, all that have to go into it, and it's not necessarily something that can be rushed. This was an exciting open house because folks came and talked about issues related to Watercrest I wasn't even aware of. One of those was the alignment of the street. People put information in on crosswalks, traffic signals, mentioned drainage, all those things related to this one road. So this was just a great event to give that input for the future of Watercrest. Next slide, please. Other roads across District 4. There's a street maintenance plan that the Public Works Department takes care of every year. They prioritize particular streets that need to have maintenance done on them. And for the next fiscal year, there's going to be Desert Rural Road, if you guys are familiar with that one, next to the Walmart there is very rough. That should be repaved, as well as Judson Avenue that's over there close to Bridgewood. That's a rough street. So they've been working to prioritize those done. Pavement condition study, this is going to be done in the future where they'll determine what roads need future maintenance, like the ones you see that are prioritized. I do want to mention Clear Creek Road. It's a TxDOT road. A lot of folks were asking, why did Clear Creek get paved? That wasn't there was nothing wrong with Clear Creek essentially. Well, that's a TxDOT road. They sponsored that road and funding to take care of that road, and they prioritize that road for repair. So the city of Killeen didn't have much to do with Clear Creek, but we do appreciate it getting repaved. Also, I'm putting some focus on Reese's Creek Road. That road's kind of tucked back in the corner of the district, and it's needing some work. Next slide, please. Parks and trails. So this is very key, as you know. District 4 has 1 park, 1 trail. The 1 park we have is 0.79 acres. It's connected to the school. Folks don't know it's a park because it's connected to the school. So recently this year, actually, staff proposed 3 different park opportunities. And the city council determined to move forward to establish these 3 parks. The park at the bottom left corner is located off the Bunny Trail. where you see the hill, we've got that rock that most people frequent. The top right is the West Side Regional Park located off of Watercrest. And the bottom right is using a drainage track and converting that to a neighborhood park outside the Estancia West subdivision. And so these parks, they also have planning process that have to go into them, funding to build them out and all those things. But these are on the horizon to be parks that have already been determined by the city council to move forward with as far as being established. So this is outstanding. I do want to mention, council in a previous budget discussion determined to earmark a total of $200,000 for trail improvements for all 4 trails across the city of Killeen. And with us having a Fort Hood Regional Trail, we're now going to have water fountains and benches at the trail, kind of one of those fundamental things I like to say at the trail. So that's coming. Next slide, please. Traffic safety. I've heard from a lot of citizens to see if we're looking to traffic studies for the intersection of Robinette and Watercrest, where you have that Dollar General. The intersection of Ivy Mountain Gap and State Highway 201 with the upcoming development, as well as Bunny Trail and Alamance Rose Creek, where we've got that situation that we're working to correct. With the reconstruction projects that are going on, they're going to be doing these studies to determine if a signal is needed there, and it would be beneficial if they do qualify for that study. So those are part of the study. Excuse me. Next slide, please. Neighborhood speeding. This is a huge issue in District 4. Believe it or not, a lot of our subdivisions are large, and we have wide streets, and folks are wanting to speed. Well, they're speeding down our streets, and so I submitted 20 plus streets for District 4 that residents have mentioned. And those studies were done by staff, and we do appreciate those studies being done. They're officially complete now, and now they'll determine if they qualify for traffic mitigation measures, whether speed bumps, speed humps, etc. Council, outstanding, allocated $250,000 in our recent budget discussion towards speed mitigation measures once this comes up for discussion. So the money will be there to start putting some of these things in place. That's thanks to the council. These are just some of the streets that were selected. Next slide, please. And this is the last slide. For those, I'm always on Facebook. I'm in the community, working to be productive and get things done. You can follow me at Killeen District 4 on Facebook, and you'll find all the information there. Thank you for your time, and thank you all for coming out.
Okay, so far we've got one speaker signed up, Melissa Brown, and I think we're gonna get a microphone.
Can you make it a short one?
I think you can adjust it.
Now that she got it all set up. I'd like to start off by saying, in my opinion, this is not an actual town hall, because the town hall is engagement, and this is nothing more than citizens' comment booths at the end of a workshop. Where's the forward thinking? We're listening to the council argue over and discuss trivial niceties, not what the future and current needs are. There's been no discussion in this chamber about roads that need more than repair. Tremere, both east and west, are your next chaparral. Look at what the council has already approved for development on those roads. Money is going to sending 9 people on a trip. Is that $30,000 to pay the better part of a salary for a support staff member or needed equipment? Millions are going out to engineers, various attorneys, and a dozen professional service agreements that could have been done through other means. Meanwhile, our employee benefit costs keep rising while their actual benefits go down. We have to take out debt and rely on grants to equip staff. Our first responder, equip staff and for our first responders. And by the way, there should be no support for a local law that puts our officers in a difficult decision or situation from a council member. We are outpacing our city services, even Encore, but continue to expand south. There's even a last-minute change to the comprehensive plan to facilitate a large development because it looks good. The developers gave a pretty tour. Increased fees and taxes, increased rent. Killeen has around 10 to 15 foreclosures a month. And whether he talks to them or not, small businesses are hurt by these increases. Streets flood in the rain. We fix drainage and roads around homes at the golf course, while all the roads that lead to our downtown area are nearly unpassable in the rain. So the impression is, come to downtown if it's dry, but not if it's raining. There was an agenda item on our architectural standards. I didn't hear any discussion on it, but I will say that they are part of our comprehensive plan. It was a 2-year process where the Home Builders Association had almost limitless input. I would encourage you to please attend the stakeholder meetings sometime. You can also watch them on my YouTube channel now. Maybe you would see the level of abuse that our staff takes at these meetings, and we wouldn't be so quick to throw them under the bus. We'd also be more likely to take their advice on a matter that is inconvenient to builders and developers. The true test of whether or not this is a town hall will be if there's real-time feedback, or if it will be like the majority of the meetings, the citizens will talk, and then you will adjourn. You 8, 9 people sitting in front of me right now set the image of the city, both through decisions such as zoning and standards. No more of this, we don't make decisions on who should build what on their property, or it's not our job to decide how the city should look. Controlling the narrative is controlling how we look, both how we act and out here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be worried about getting rid of blighted apartments or blighted buildings, or we wouldn't be worried about vacant buildings in downtown, because it's their property and they should be able to leave it vacant if they want to. But also your words and actions, both within and outside of these walls. If you want to control the narrative, start here.
Michael Fernino.
Well, once again, I'm the specter at the feast. Talk about engagement and talking about citizen response back and forth. I'm not gonna go over last evening's events, but a particular pattern has emerged, that format of regular council meetings, where you have contractors, developers, et cetera, usual suspects. They get months and months behind the scenes. We get at the Planning and Zoning Commission boards and all that, everybody gets to polish up their agenda item and all that, just to the vision portion of theirs. We as citizens get 3 to 4 minutes. Those same contractors have had months and months to set up their deals with you folks. They also get to engage citizens' comments, then they get 15 minutes PowerPoint presentation, and it's unfair. We get 3 to 4 minutes, they get months. Example, Thousand Oaks projects, you talk about engagement. Okay, I was in that convo line that night of telling you folks not to vote for it. We don't want this. Let's build businesses. Oh, what was the response? We have heard you. We appreciate your passion. Okay, as quoted in the Killeen Daily Herald. My arithmetic was very correct on that. Of the people that are here, of the 2.7% of the people who voted the last election, we're less than 1% of that. And that night was probably the biggest citizen comment on one agenda item that I saw. And after told, oh, we have heard you. We're your boss. A lot of you on record tonight saying that. You voted the exact opposite. That's gotta stop. I mean, when it comes to things like that, on engagement, we would like to have more forums like this. I mean, we can argue the ins and outs of what it actually qualifies on the meetings and all that, but we need to have a direct back and forth. I should be able to ask you a question, you respond. If any of us behind me are unsatisfied with the answer, ask to follow up in a clarifying question, pin you to the wall. That's your job. You stated on the record here in this meeting that we are your boss. Yet, a lot of us aren't seeing that. just to touch on last night, that's the only time I've actually had a chance to engage with that. And what was I met with? Instant profanity, instant insults, et cetera, et cetera. This is part of vision, about respect for veterans. It was on the slide, respect of veterans and the community. I'm tired of being used as a marketing tool and a troll for votes. You respect the veterans, but then this is the treatment we get? That is on the agenda. First slide that the mayor put up said, respect the citizens, military, and the military veteran community. Hello, that's me. As it is you too, sir. Well, this is why we need a more open forum where any of us can get up here and ask, going back to it, we can ask whatever we want. No cover, no gavel out.
That's not our rule, that's the state rule.
You can hold it, it doesn't have to be here. Have it in a parking lot. It's nothing but excuses. You use the law to shield yourselves and hit us with, when it's a hammer.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse, it's a reason that you can't accept.
I can't accept.
Right, it's a state law that when we meet together, it's Open Meetings Act, and we have to go by an agenda.
Okay, so have something outside the building, something where the citizens
It's
can.
not the building, it's the council that's together.
So have us sit down at a park. We can have it at a picnic table, whatever, ground rules.
I've reached out to you individually, you don't answer your phone.
Yes, I do.
Sir, the 4 minutes are up.
Thank you.
I think I can try to address that, and I tried at the beginning. Whenever there is a quorum of the council members, that's 4 council members present. It doesn't matter if it's city hall or a parking lot or a park. There has to be a posted agenda if you're going to talk about city business. And what the council members have been doing has been having individual town hall meetings where they are there by themselves with 1 or 2 other council members where there's not a quorum, and that can occur. But in this type of setting, it's not possible unless it is on the agenda. And as we said at the beginning, we'd do the best we could to give a wide latitude. So, council, I don't know if you want to take a minute to address some of the things that have been the first couple of speakers have said before we move on to the next ones.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Again, like I was saying before, we represent you, and just because you're the loudest doesn't mean that you're the most. And that's what I was referring to as we do work for you. And if you're locked in your own head of thinking that we're supposed to do just what you individually want us to do, it doesn't work that way. No government works that way. I don't care how big how small the city is. We still are representing, and just because you are saying it loud does not mean that it's the consensus of the population. Just because you show up on Tuesday night and say it here does not mean you're representing even a majority, even a small minority of people. You're representing the thoughts inside your head. And that's welcome. That's welcomed. But understand, it doesn't necessarily represent everybody who talks to us on the outside, people who email us and call us. We have to take that into consideration too. There have been things that I have voted for here on this council because of the consensus of people who have reached out to me that I don't personally agree with. And to speak, even to be blunt with you, decrim. I know what we can't do as a council. That's why I voted against it. Because as a council, I know what our rules state. But me personally, I'm in favor of it. So you have to know the difference between that. And to Councilwoman Cobb's point, when you come with a solution that is feasible, we can work with that. But if it's just to come up here and, get it off your chest, you're welcome to do that, but it really doesn't have an end state. It doesn't have a goal. You can't accomplish that. Again, speaking for me personally, there's no other reason that I'm here on council other than to help the city of Killeen. I have no ambition whatsoever anywhere else except to help you. So I'm not doing this for any gain, and, to speak of any deals that were done with any developers or whatnot, I have no clue what that means. There's never been a deal that I've made with anybody, and I feel confident in saying that about anybody here up on the council. There's no backdoor deals going on with your neighbors up here who represent you. Now, if you have a developer who wants to come and brief us on what they plan to do, or invite us out to see a site that they intend to bring up, that's totally a different thing. There's no personal gain to us for that. But if you want us to work for the city and to make it better and to look at some of the things that are, that would progress our city, those are the things that have to happen. The same thing can happen for you an individual. Some of you have reached out to me and said, hey, can we meet? You're just an individual citizen. And I take the time, just as much time to meet with individuals as I do with any developer who wants to come here and show us what they plan for our city. So to get up here and to be hyperbolic about, some shady underbelly of government, this is the best government that, in my opinion, that you have, because it's the local government, because we live here. We have a vested interest in making this place better. We're not a congressman that lives in another town or another district or area. We're right here. Now, we may not all agree on how that comes out, and that comes out in the vote. But I do believe that everyone that's sitting up here has a vested interest in making this place a better place. So, I don't mean to be rude. If you take it that way, I apologize for that. But I will be blunt, and like I said before, I'll be truthful. And, so with that, I don't wanna, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to Mr. Boyd. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, okay, very good, thank you. So our constituent mentioned forward thinking. I think that's essential to the conversation here, and it's a very valid concern. And so some of the things that I want to touch on as it relates to that, when you start talking about the infrastructure and all of the developments and economic growth and changes that we need to have in here, the real question becomes, how do we pay for that? Where does the money come from? Nobody wants their taxes to go up. We want businesses here. How do we attract the businesses here when our downtown needs to be revitalized? We are currently building a plane that's in flight right now, which we all know there's a lot of work to be done. With that said though, it is not impossible. How do we get there? Forward thinking is working with your legislators, as was mentioned before. There are federal dollars that are available to the state of Texas, that are allocated for the state of Texas. And typically, they go to the largest counties in the states. And we are Bell County, we're not Chocolate, I believe we're like 15 if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, we gotta verify that, but we're up there, right? 19? So when I think of forward thinking, what I'm thinking of is I know that we have all of these challenges. I know that we need to recruit for our police departments. I know that we need to improve our downtowns. I know that we have our roads that we need to improve so that you're not chipping your teeth and that we can continue to drive on safely. How do we get there? The 88th legislature is about to open on November 14. If you are here today, I hope that you're here on that day as well, because those people also have a say in how much money comes into our area. And this council has laid forth a legislative initiative, forward thinking, talking about how we can start to command our presence as we're working on our image here in Killeen, letting them know that we are a force to be reckoned with. Not only are we next to Fort Hood, but we have a population of ready, willing, and able bodies that are able to work, that are qualified beyond measure, that have the abilities that they need to be able to be a trainable, workable workforce. So we want to be seen, we want to be heard. There's a process that's involved in that. This is the first step. We're here today because a citizen asked for this. Several citizens asked for this. This is supposed to be vision, and how do we move forward thinking? And to our constituents' point, how do we get those infrastructures? How do we get those things paid? We need to continue continue to work on that collectively. So I just wanna remind us that there are a lot of initiatives on the table, that we're working on. And I just wanna say that, forward thinking, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we just have to remember there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle, and how we get there, we might not agree, but we can hear you, we can take notes, but we need to continue to work together to push forward so that we can make those changes actually come to realization. Thank you.
Thank you. The most important piece of positive community culture to me is open communication, the highest ethics, and being transparent. One of the things we can do, would ask the council to consider that we do have more town halls, and how we can resolve some of the concerns specifically for a citizen. They can submit their questions to us prior to the town hall, and then we can come up with the answers. So you're coming here, I wanna hear you. And if it's not on the agenda, we cannot talk about it, about the Open Meeting Act. So we owe you that much. If you take the time to come here tonight, that we should be able to answer your concerns. So that's something that I hope that the council will consider, to do more town halls and allow the residents to submit their questions, and then we can address their concerns along with our visions and mission for the city. Thank you.
Monica Washington.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Washington. This is my first meeting attending, but I'm very involved in the community. The thing is, I want to first start off by saying thank each and every one of y'all for what y'all do for the city of Killeen. I know sometimes sitting in your position, we can't see it because our foot is on the other side. Thing is, something you said, it's not really so much of a question or a complaint, so say. It's just words of encouragement. What you said was very important today as far as togetherness. The thing is, we need to come together as a community. Rather you're sitting behind those tables, or rather we're sitting behind these chairs. And what it is, it's a lot of aggressiveness and angerness going on right now due to is a lot of finger pointing. And I think, like you said, if we take time and communicate, not only communicate, but listen to one another. And sometimes listening is just by being silent, because you can hear a lot just by not even saying anything. Also, shout out to you. I found out what district we're in, and I'm very grateful with riding down Robinette, and it's smooth. Every time I ride down Robinette, I can honestly say that. We come from the city of Harker Heights. I did sit on the board of Harker Heights, and I'm looking forward to try to volunteer and sit on this board sometime later in the future. But I thank you guys. Thanks for all that y'all doing. Y'all stay encouraged.
Patsy Grayson.
Good afternoon, council and city manager. I've been in Killeen 60 years. I've had a business here, I've sold real estate, I have home health agency, have a nursing training. I have one question. I have always been told that there is a difference between county and city streets. If a thing says Watercress Road, correct me if I'm wrong, mister, that means county maintenance?
No, there can be a road in the county or the city.
And Tremere Road, and I stay between old 440 and 195. Now, the old 440 would be the responsibility of the county?
I'm looking at Mr. Reynolds, no, the city.
Okay, that was just a question. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Sandra Blankenship.
Okay, so I was on the comprehensive planning committee. I have a couple of suggestions. Instead of speed bumps to slow things down, perhaps speed dips to help with the undercarriage of our emergency services vehicles instead. And then painting designs at intersections actually is proven to slow down vehicles. So to enhance our city and make it, beautify it. Designs, you can have any design you want. You can have abstract, you can have a thing, just paint. Paint in the intersection has actually been proven to slow down vehicles. So that, and it's paint, it's not expensive, and you can have groups have their own design, paint, you know, and it'll help beautify the city. A question, what incentives are you able to offer to businesses to keep them downtown?
I don't mind answering that. There's, we've done a number of things. If you look at the whole toolbox, it just depends on the particular business. There could be sales tax rebates, there could be property tax abatements. We have programs for small businesses, for sign grants, for facade improvements. And then, of course, we had some very large grants that went out for people in the downtown area that we used ARPA money for, to encourage people to buy buildings, improve them, put a business downtown. We put significant money to that, and that's has yet to really have an impact. It's about to start. You'll see some improvements. You'll see some businesses open up in downtown or renovate in downtown with that money. So that's just a big picture of the toolbox that we have. Yes, sir.
Can I also add that, in addition to just the financial resources, I think it's bigger than just handing out money to businesses to incentivize them. I think the things that we are currently doing and plan to do in the future that we're actually voting on, whether it be dealing with our homeless population, whether it be some of the things that we're talking about as far as really dressing up our city. I think that actually is one of the incentives for doing business downtown. I think that that's probably even bigger than just handing money out, which we have done. We've done grants to businesses to bring them downtown as well. So I just wanted to kind of expound. He talked about more of the tangible things that you can see, but those small things that you do to fix up on a daily basis, whether it's code enforcement rules and regulations that we're updating to make things better for downtown, or again addressing the homeless issue. I think that pays off. That has dividends as well.
And, thank you. Also, the city is open to any small business or business, if you know anyone that would want to relocate here, not only downtown, but throughout the city of Killeen, and just get with our city staff to see the incentives and what where do they fall in the incentives for bringing a business downtown. But we are really truly focused on small businesses because they are the backbone of our community right now, and we are appreciative of the businesses that we already have.
Hello? Here we go. I just want to follow up on the downtown because I think that's very important and what he said about incentivizing, but I think the most important thing that we need to be doing for our downtown business is the education part, because I talked to a lot of people downtown. I was just there earlier for lunch. I went and ate at the Panamanian restaurant today, and very good restaurant, one of my favorites here. She only has 3 people there for lunch. And so the challenge that most businesses, you can have the best cookies in the world, but if you don't have enough people coming in that door on a daily basis to cover your overhead, that is where our downtown businesses run into challenges. I don't care what type of business you have, you need clientele to stay afloat. And we can incentivize you, but if we incentivize you and you're not making any money, then you're gonna fall under. So a lot of that is just the education part. And I know we got a lot of different resources. When I talk to people downtown, I try to encourage them to take advantage of that, because our workforce board, our chamber board, they all have programs that will educate people before they invest the money into a business and understand, what is my traffic count? What do I need there? We as a city, I always said, and you guys heard me mention this many times before, what is needed more than anything to help our businesses, the foot traffic. Exactly, because if we don't get enough people down there occupying our businesses, then they're gonna go under. And so we need to keep doing things that is gonna put more residents, because as you guys know, the north side of Killeen has been landlocked for many years. Growth goes down south. There's no more growth. So lately, I'm glad to see that there are people that are doing and investing and putting more people downtown. But over time, the more people we put down there, then, you know, people like to walk. If you have a coffee shop right there, you're gonna walk down and go down. But that is the number one thing, it's just the education part. And when I coach somebody on the business, I always say, tell me how many people you need on a daily basis to walk in your door for you to break even. And that's something they've never heard. And it's like, wow, I never thought about that. And so it's part of the education process. Before you look at the incentives, before you look at the money and all that, just get educated on how to run a small business.
Can you hear me? When I think of downtown and you ask for the incentive, an incentive can be just what fellow councilmen and women have said tonight. However, the biggest incentive that one can have is one that's feeling like they took a part. It is the respect that we have for one city. I'm from one of the poorest counties in the nation, Tunica, Mississippi. My respect for Tunica is not because of what built. It is because of the people and the hope that they have in their hearts for things to become better. It is something about hope and working and knowing that you did it. When we tell people to come to the downtown area, the incentive in that person should be to make my city better. And once you have that incentive of hope and working hard and being able to say, this is mine, and you start advertising and you start doing great things, then people will come. I certainly believe in that respect for your own. And that's the biggest incentive, to know that you've had all these ways to have your business. But once you get it, you gotta have a little hope too. You gotta put out those signs and hope that people come in, and it happens. Something so small can be so big. And I also wanted to address something else. Sometimes we are so angry and we are so upset because I did not get what I thought was the best ideal in the whole world. I love the way Councilman Wilkerson put it. It's like it's 163 people, 63,000 people in the city. If one person, each person sent me one question and wanted their answer right then and there, and they wanted their answer to be what they've suggested in that letter, they're gonna run me out of jail. Because it is impossible sometimes when there's 8 or 9 of us that's sitting on that dais to make your dreams come true. What I learned since being on the council, it's not Disneyland. You know, everybody wanna go to Disney, but and you see that commercial and we think things just happen. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen with councilmen and councilwomen. It doesn't just happen. There's staff, there's people, there's rules, there's regulations. So when you move downtown, again, I think that incentive should be the hope that I'm the best. Every time, and I have this statement, work will win when wishing won't. If you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, you can't have nothing in this lifetime. Nothing is gonna be successful. You gotta work to look good, you gotta work to be successful, you gotta work. Everything requires work. And if we're not working, we're not gonna get anything. When you get turned down the first time, Councilman Segura said it best, 3 people are in a restaurant. Tonight it's probably gonna be 5 or 10 because he just acknowledged to the city of Killeen that there's a restaurant downtown and you all need to go and try. Every time I go, there's only 3 people. We can't be negative. We gotta share the good things. It just can't be us trying to share and build our city. You gotta have some hope and love for your own city, for where you go and for what you see. If you see something good, you should say, hey, girl, there are 10 shoes for $1 over at that shoe store. Everybody, this city should have, every woman should go and get 10 shoes if they can get it for $1. We have to share the good things. We have to share what's right. We share so much of what's wrong. Let's share what's right. And the incentives will be great. We will grow. We will just be busting at the seams because we're sharing the good things of what people are bringing.
Thank you. So real quick. So incentives, I think, are like a toolbox for our businesses and for our future growth and for our business owners and for future development. So you asked the question about what other things are in place. So Mr. Cagle has mentioned a plethora, and Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem has also. But I'm really excited about the Main Street program. This is a national program that once it's in place, if we're approved for this, our business owners will be able to take advantage of it. It also offers educational components, right, to Councilman Segar's point. It offers grant opportunities, development opportunities, and then for the city, there's also incentives to help our city continue to grow. Main Street program, once we're accepted into that, will also be a huge tool in the toolbox of our local business owners, and I'm very, very, very excited about that potential. So there are a lot. Thank you.
Candice Cooper.
How y'all doing this evening? Awesome, I ain't been here in a while, I'm sure y'all miss me. But we've been, if I can talk to just a couple of the points, of course, talking about my building. I'm really excited, so when you guys talk about the grant opportunities, I am one of the recipients for the small business grant. And so I will be bringing my photography studio to Avenue D. Closing is November 9th. And so it's been a process. And so one thing, when you guys hired Kate Casito, Kate, wherever you at? Kate is phenomenal, the revitalization director. She came in and really went straight to work on making sure that those of us that needed help had questions. If I asked a question, she called me back in 15 minutes. And so it's been a process. And so I can say, I'm one of the awardees that I'm buying an old building. And so if I can just touch base real quick on the process of these buildings that have been grandfathered, and when we talk about code enforcement, I think that it's important as we continue to grow the downtown Killeen area, as you guys are wanting more businesses down here, there are no new structures. A lot of people got blessed and got buildings that have been renovated, but there are no new structures in downtown Killeen. So they're all gonna run into what I've been running into, which is the electrical system in there is knob and tube. It is an electric system from 1980. It is an HVAC system dated 1988. It is a roof that has not been repaired in 30 years. It is buildings that will more than likely have asbestos, and I'm praying that that estimate don't kill me. But it's the process of, as you guys are continuing to get more applicants that are either gonna buy the structures or even rent, with those processes, because now they're gonna start getting fined. I saw Kate and the team walking around and updating the vacancy list. And so they're gonna try to find somebody to either sell that building to or to get them in as renters. But you guys also have to think about the renters. Yes, they can put somebody in it and now it's not vacant, but is the building safe? Because they're not fixing the buildings. If you don't make them fix a roof, they're not going to fix a roof. And with all the storm changes between the freeze that we had, the hail damage that are taking place, I ran into a situation, the big building that I applied for, the estimate on the roof was $180,000. They were selling the building for $199,000, and they refused to come down on the price. And so when you are overvaluing, because a lot of them, they're trying to get rid of the structures because it's costing them too much money. And they've received their value out of it. These buildings have been paid for hand over foot. But just when you're thinking about, as you bring more businesses in here, making sure that you look into going through with code enforcement and checking these buildings and these structures out, because it is now I'm needing to get $30,000 worth of electricity work done. And because these processes haven't been done. I'm super excited, I'm okay, y'all already told y'all guys got me. But just going through that process of, been talking with Kate and it's not done yet, so now it's like, now everything's figured out, just like, okay, when are you ready, when are you ready? And I'm just like, now I'm in the building buying process, and it's dealing with listing agents not answering the phone, or dealing with sellers who aren't amenable to any changes or adjustments. So I just wanted to put that out there. Otherwise, city staff is doing an amazing job. I'm super excited. When we talk about incentives as far as being in the historic district, really learning what we can and cannot do in the area. And I think with the ARPA funds, also being able to host downtown Killeen events, I'm super excited to be able to take advantage of just being in that space and that growth. But definitely looking into how can you support the businesses that are in that space? How do we create an environment for different type of businesses? What else can I speak to? Just in reference to our city in general, I'm excited about the growth. We talk about education. That is very important. So I'm the membership chair for the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce, and that's something that we are pushing heavy on. Yes, sir.
Time's up.
Oh, there was time. Oh, I was gonna say, y'all know I can talk. Yeah, I think, thank you, sir. Thank you, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem. And so we're really heavy on the education part. If you guys are in here, reach out to your local chamber, whoever it may be. You have the Asian American Association, you have the Hispanic American Chamber of Commerce, you have the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce, you have the Greater Killeen Chamber of Commerce, because that education is very important. I went 2 years from making enough money to pay my bills to the help of my chamber and the networking. If you guys are talking about coming in here, reach out to build relationships, network, communicate, have your own form of relationship outside of who these individuals are, because they get a check, but this is essentially volunteer work. And so I appreciate and respect the time that you guys are putting into, and I think this council and the last council, I've seen that change. I'm Killeen born and raised, and so I've seen the growth. I'm excited about the investment changes. Find other businesses and nonprofits to collaborate with your business with, build relationships, join a committee. I sit on the board with Mr. Riakos for now with the KISD Education Grant Foundation. And so find ways of putting yourself in other spaces. I'm super excited. I just wanted to say that snippet on just the overall safety when it comes to businesses in the downtown Killeen area. Thank y'all.
Thank you for your comments. I take that, and it's very good information going forward. If we can do that again, if we can ever do the grant program again, keeping in mind that grant was made possible through ARPA funds. If we can ever receive that type of funding again, I think that's something that we need to look at, and taking your advice on how to go about that is crucial. I'll also say that I took a tour today, Workforce Solutions. You know, Mr. Boyd actually he took the tour first, and he said, "Hey, look, you need to go and figure out you need to go out there and see that." As well as Councilmember Cigar had mentioned it quite a bit in the past too. That's a resource that we have in our city for education that is phenomenal. I was blown away by what I saw there too, and that goes into other organizations. Now, that's not a city entity. That's not run by the city, but it is a resource that we have here in our city that more people need to know about, and that will provide that type of education that you need if you're starting a business or if you're just looking for employment. And I would say this, I would go so far as to say not just employment, but careers, because that's what they're trying to build. They're not just trying to get you a job. They're trying to get you into what you love to do and get paid for doing that. So thank you for your advice. Thank you.
I just wanted to follow up on that, because you said a lot of good things, and I would like, and all of the people that had funds that were given grant to record your experiences. And I don't know if after you guys are done with your buildings, if there's some kind of group or something that you guys can come together on a regular basis to provide that feedback and what you went to get to that, you know, because I know it's a challenge. When we all start a business, we have all these dreams, And a lot of times those dreams, you know, they don't clear our mind real good. But you that have gone through that, you can give some good advice to future entrepreneurs that are possibly wanting to do something like that. And from our perspective, and I've always said this many times, I've always been an advocate of growing from within. I know that our EDC, their main purpose is to try to attract, but I would like to see in the future if we can take some of that money and use that for future people. We might put a limit, but as another attractive, as another incentive for people to buy buildings downtown through the help of those that already did it. I think that would serve as some kind of anchor, something that other opportunities can do it, other people, other businesses. So thank you for what you're doing. I know you guys went through a lot, challenges, but guess what? All that is part about being a business owner. I mean, going through the stresses, going through the headaches, and going through the challenges. You went through it. That just makes you mentally tougher, mentally stronger to help other people. So thank you.
Mr. Adams?
And thanks again, Ms. Cooper. You've heard a lot about, we talked about incentives for downtown. We talked about the things we're doing downtown and how we're gonna connect, but it doesn't matter if nobody goes downtown. So it's you know, Facebook with the algorithms that we have, with, if you don't say, I'm in downtown Killeen, and do your promotion on your page and then share it, I'm not gonna get into social media algorithms, but if we as Killeenites or Killeenians, whatever we wanna call ourselves, if we're not saying, hey, I'm from Killeen, come here, and when we were at Texas Municipal League, some of the smaller cities, they approached me and said, that was a good idea you did to revitalize your downtown. We wish we had taken ARPA funds and did the same. And to hear that, and people look at us and say, hey, we were doing something other people that mimic. But now, we have to, not just the council, not just the business owners, but because I had a conversation with a business owner on Hood Street. I won't say the business, but they don't want to go downtown because they say it's crime. I was like, when's the last time you've been down there? Can you just go down there and have lunch? Go down and so at least, because right now things are starting to change. And so I would implore people and to tell a friend, hey, as the downtown starts to revitalize and improve, it will not last if we don't internally use it.
Mr. Boyd?
Thank you. I know we don't have a lot of citizens here, but there for sure will be a lot of folks that are gonna watch this, and I just wanna encourage our citizens to get more involved in what's going on in the process in Killeen, the boards and commissions that were mentioned earlier, the Killeen Citizens Academy that gives you information on how the city runs. We have an incredible city, but we don't have enough citizens involved in the process. We have 158,000 people here, and there's a lot of dynamics to the city. There's a lot of exciting parts to the city too, to really learn about and get involved in. The comprehensive plan, like was mentioned, that's key. We're gonna be working to align with that. But I want to also encourage people to give the city of Killeen a chance to show that we are working to be progressive and kind of undo some of the things from the past. It may take another 5 to possibly 10 years to be where the city's going, but the focus that's on downtown now with the revitalization coordinator, with the Dale County Annex, with the events, these are major investments into Killeen, right? The money that was put into our legacy parks, I think it was $3.4 million into Long Branch, Condor, Stewart Parks, the parks on the north side. These are major improvements, and over time, these things are gonna come together, but we're working on economic development. We're seeing traction in that area for the first time. So I just wanna encourage folks to continue to give us a chance. Of course, you know that the council can change over, but we are working to align ourselves with standards in the pattern. I think the comprehensive plan is gonna help us with that, but at the end of the day, you know, get more involved. There's a lot of opportunity. We've got great culture here. We're a very diverse community. And folks from other cities are aware of Killeen, and they'll step in here and say, man, you guys are very diverse. You got the military here. You've got this and that, strong workforce. And it's like, we're here working just now to take advantage of what we have. And it's important that we do that before other folks come in and take advantage of what we have in the city first. So I just want to share that with you.
to speak to two things that, Councilmember Scar as well as Gonzalez said, and to what you were saying, Ms. Cooper, this was the first time we did this. So it was a learning curve for the city too. We don't always have the correct answer. We may have the right heart and the intent to do things right. So a lot of challenges that were met with this grant program were not out of malice or lack of want or trying. It was the first time for us to do things, and I think that by using the approach that Councilmember Cigar mentioned, I think we can learn a lot from that, getting the feedback, closing that feedback loop so we have some good information going forward. Again, if we do this again, we should be better for it. So, and I think that's an innovative thing that we did, to speak to Ms. Gonzalez's point. We are doing things that have never been done before to address problems in a different way. So, thank you.
I just wanted to add the reassurance. I heard what you said about the building conditions, and it's something that the city should be aware of. But the reassurance, at least for me, is any tenant or business that goes into these buildings is gonna have to go through a certificate of occupancy inspection process. So any issues with the building would be addressed through that time. So code enforcement would have to go through it and clear it. Building inspections would have to go through it. The fire marshal goes through it. And if there's anything wrong with those buildings, they won't make it to the end of that process. So the other thing was, we talked a lot about downtown revitalization, and I think one of the things that we're looking at doing now, especially part of the comprehensive plan that we haven't done before, that I think is gonna aid the success of downtown revitalization, is we're looking at the surrounding residential areas, the surrounding aging residential areas like where I grew up behind the 10th Street Post Office that have been overlooked for such a long time. There's so many vacant abandoned buildings there, vacant lots. So as we continue to focus on downtown, I think it's important that we remember these outlying surrounding residential areas. The more that we can do to improve those areas and bring in new families, the more successful that downtown businesses are gonna be, because that's gonna be your constant foot traffic. We can come downtown and patronize your business once a week, but these folks who live down here every day are the ones who are gonna walk to your shop, who are gonna frequent your businesses. So I think that's important, ultimately, not only for your success, but for the success of the city as a whole.
Marcella Cook.
So, my name is Marcella Cook, and I actually do live like 2 blocks outside of downtown. I live over Lancier and 10th area. And I don't have transportation, so I have to use public transportation and what you guys call sidewalks. I don't know if you've seen them or anything. I'm scared to drive on or roll on the sidewalks. And so you're talking about revitalizing downtown and making it accessible and everything. It is far, far from accessible. I literally go to a convenience store and go across the street and my chair does a wheelie because the dips are so bad. And my boyfriend sits there and holds my chair up because he's scared that it's gonna fall over. And this is the roads that were just repaved this summer. And so you're talking about revitalizing downtown. Well, work on it, I've literally gone on sidewalks and had to backtrack because there's no accessibility. I've had to ride in the road and literally had police pull me over because I don't want to ride with the flow of traffic and have a car come up and hit me from behind, where if they're in front of me, I know I can veer off to the side. I've been pulled over and threatened with tickets because of that. And so there's no accessibility. And you brought up the homeless issue. Yes, the homeless are part of your community also. I mean, there's nothing for them to do. I was recently homeless. And I was denied going in the library. I'm an avid bookworm. I am 10 classes away from a bachelor's of accounting degree. And I was denied going in the library because I had to have all of my belongings with me every day, and it couldn't fit in their little box. And I had one bag too many. So I couldn't go in the library to use the computer or anything. And so there are ways to help the homeless. I volunteered, okay, get a building. They want to get jobs. Trust me, we want jobs. But if you go to a job interview with everything you own on your back, who's gonna hire you? I have one friend that was at the shelter with me, got a job, and literally had problems because she had no bag. Her stuff was in a trash bag. And she had to take it to work with her every day, and her boss is like, we can't have this here. And so she got the job, but then she had the problem keeping the job because there was nowhere to put her stuff. If there's like a little small storefront or something that y'all have downtown, you're talking about revitalizing it, the homeless can go and check their stuff in during the day. I've talked to Officer Moore. I volunteered to man the place and say, look, this is so they can get jobs. This is so that they don't have to carry it with them all the time. And nothing has been done. You want to help them and everything else, but everything that is done impedes what we try to do. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. Some of the things that you exposed to us tonight, I'm glad you came forward. That's why we have town hall meetings, because city council meetings, we can't necessarily hear these things, and unless you reach out to us, email and phone, we don't know the challenges that you have. And so those were very well articulated, and I think those are things that we are currently addressing ADA issues within our city. Yeah, and I don't know if,
Yes, sir.
City Manager, if you kind of want to brief a little bit about what we're going through with that. And I know it never is fast enough.
It's kind of because you're forced to do it.
Well, yes, but it is true because we're forced to do it. But also, again, to my earlier point, we didn't know the challenges too. Now, I don't think you can find anybody here in this room right now who is just, shrug their shoulders at being able to have fellow citizens who have disabilities be able to have accessibility to certain places. There's nobody who does not care. It's a matter of knowing, and that's what you just did too, is to put us on notification that these things are still a challenge. And so, as city manager,
Sure.
kind of talk about it.
No, I think we're well aware of the problem. It's one of many of the first things I noticed when I first got here. But the problem is not just a little bit around downtown. It's everywhere, and it takes a significant amount of revenue. We probably talked about hundreds of millions of dollars of public projects tonight. You heard tonight, well, the downtown streets flood. Well, guess what? They were designed that way. This council that stepped in was handed that problem all over the city. The stormwater is not, for the most part, is not taken underground, is dealt with in the streets. It's a much cheaper way to build, but you're gonna have to live with the flooding. And you don't fix that overnight, even in a small part. Our total budget for police, fire, water, sewer, everything included is about $265 million a year. You're not even gonna start to touch that drainage problem with that much money a year. And the sidewalk problem is not that big, but it's still a large dollar amount. You add all these things up, and none of them, even if you devoted all your money, can be fixed quickly. It just takes a while. But I will tell you that, as the Mayor Pro Tem said, the problem is recognized, and it's more than just being forced to do it. There's a lot more to accessibility than just sidewalks that have been neglected for a very long time, and this council and staff are committed to fixing them. And the other thing that was brought up was homelessness. We have devoted resources to coming up with a real plan, with an action plan, and put some of our ARPA money to it to work with Habitat for Humanity, with Cove House, and the final plan will be coming up very soon. But we're working on funding for all of those to deal with, with some of the things that you talked about, which, when I got here, this is not me, this is this council, the city's policy on homeless was, we don't do social services, that's not our problem. And that has been a 100% change in the past couple of years. But you can't just snap your fingers and make it happen. But just to let you know, there's resources and plans being devoted to take care of a lot of the things you talked about. And I would hope on sidewalks that some of those resources first go to around downtown, because it's some of the oldest part of town and some of the areas in greatest need.
I also would just like to add, for the council to consider, if they have employment and they need somewhere to store their belongings and they want to work, that's something we need to look into. Where do they store their belongings if they have a job, if they cannot take it to, with them? And it's a now problem with that, and that's just something that we should look into and consider. Where do they store their belongings if they're employed? We have the transportation if they're utilizing our bus, or if their job pay enough, they can utilize a cab. But one of her concerns was she's almost finished with her degree and she wants to work, and that's what we want. We want them to be in the workforce and have the highest quality of life. But that's something that we need to consider. If we don't have a solution right now, we need to work toward a solution. Thank you.
So I don't know the exact solution, but I will work on that. I've got a note here. But there are organizations that are actually, that's their mission, to help homeless, challenged people that are trying to get back and reintegrate into the workforce. That's their mission, and that's what they do. So to Mayor's point, it's a matter of getting everyone in the room and figuring out who those people are so that they know where they can go, because I know that there is someone, I want to confirm it before I say it out loud, but there is a group that does do exactly what you said. It's just a matter of getting that information to people so they know who's out there that are ready to help. So I will work on that for you. Thank you.
Very good point. And I kind of overlooked that. I kind of spoke to it, but I was speaking more to municipalities and government entities that partnership with us. The biggest part of what we do in providing the quality of life for the city is to be able to partner with a lot of our organizations. We have some great organizations out here that do a lot of things that the tendency now is to say, hey, this is a problem in our city government, fix it. Well, there are a lot of organizations out there that are doing it. The only problem with that is that they're siloed. They're siloed, and they're not a lot of people know about them, and they have the capacity to take on more, but not too many people know about it. And if I'm just gonna take a guess at the organization she's talking about, and it's actually located right down here in Killeen, that might be able to manage that, and I'm a part of that organization, is the Killeen Creators is right here. Getting people back up on their feet, being able to attend to the needs of the less fortunate here in the city. There are so many organizations out there that are doing that, and I think it's our obligation to partner with those and start bringing those out and developing those types of partnerships, so that, like the city manager said, we don't necessarily have it in our budget, and like I said, sometimes we're not even chartered to do it. So we have to be very creative and innovative in how we spend taxpayer dollars to fix some of these social problems that we haven't been able to attend to lately or in the past. So keep that in mind as we go forward too. It's a work in progress, and nothing happens quickly, but as we continue to learn and grow and start developing these partnerships, hold our feet to the fire on that we are continuing to try. We may not get it all right, but we are definitely trying.
Sir, is it David Davis? Davida.
Hi, I'm Davida Davis. I actually have a business downtown Killeen, neighborhood daiquiris, and I wanted to thank all of you all, definitely, because it was a lot of information that I just didn't even know for myself. So thank you for that. And because I invest in downtown Killeen, I'm from downtown Killeen, I don't want to move my business from down there, but there is a problem with crime down there right now. People are getting broken into on a rotating basis, And as far as the revitalization of it, I feel like that should start with cleaning it up, like, you know, the trash problem and things like that. And because I wanna keep my business down there, like, but I'm getting broken into, and I don't, you know, I don't really have to keep my business down there, it kinda makes it, you know, a combat within myself even. And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was reaching out, like, to people more so my age, like, y'all are missing a whole generation of people that actually really do care. I don't know what you guys would need to, I don't know, I honestly don't know, I don't have a solution, but I really want you guys to.
If I could ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
Your generation, and I'll be 52 Sundays.
Right.
I probably am twice your generation. But point being is this, maybe we don't know how, because from right now, and that's a good point too about communication from the city. We've heard that before at my town hall meeting, is that, hey, communication's not there. And, 52-year-old man that lived most of his life without social media.
I'm just a young blood, a young person.
Well, I think we have a great communications director right now. She just came on last year for us, and she's done some things already to ramp up that type of communication.
And honestly, that's how I even was her ramping up, was even how I was able to find out about some of those things, but I'm telling you.
Yeah, and
it can go further.
I've heard people say,
make.
for instance, and you don't have to leave now, your time's not running,
Oh.
but, I've heard people say, hey, why don't you, why didn't y'all put it in the paper? Again, not understanding.
You're not gonna reach us in the paper.
Not only that.
You're not gonna reach us on TV.
But not only that, we don't own the paper, we don't own the TV.
Right.
They get to choose what they put in the paper.
Right.
And if they put in, whatever they put in is what their choice, their editors and, now we can pay for advertisement, which we do, for some things in the paper, but ultimately it's up to them, so if,
And there's a younger generation of
come
business
out and let
owners
us know.
coming up.
I guess what I'm
you know?
trying to say is
So
come out and let us know.
I wanted to speak to that, like, there is a younger generation of business owners coming up, and we do need that type of, guidance. And like Candice was saying, right, she's starting her business down there, you don't want her to bring her business down there and then have to run into the problem of crime. And I've been there for a while, and this is honestly my first run-in with true crime, so it was like, it's just, the revitalization has to be like, and then I also heard that there's not a lot of police force down there, so there's only like about 5 people that frequent that area. And when you're, 5 police officers dedicated, thank you, that frequent that area, it's more, it's needed. It's, there needs to be more there, especially with the homeless community being down there, And not saying that there's a problem, but just, there's always people walking around down there, there's always traffic down there, so.
I just wanted to, because you hit on a good point, I mean, our young people. I think that's so important that we reach out to the young generation.
Right.
And we do have different organizations. I made mention a couple of weeks ago when somebody was trying to sell the image, and I said, why don't you use our young professionals? We have great opportunity. And sometimes it's a challenge, and that's where it's difficult, because a lot of us, as we get older, we're retired, you are out there making a living, you're out there living a life, you're trying to make
Right.
dollars, and so that's where the challenge becomes, because we do want young people to participate and be part of that, but guess what? You're busy. I gotta go and run the business.
Right.
And so that's the challenge that we need to figure out. How do we reach our young professionals who are out there, especially you guys that spoke earlier, that are out there trying to get the business off the ground? And it's like, come in here and help the city. Well, I ain't got time for that. I need to make money. So that's the thing that we need to figure out. That's the challenge, because I know there's a lot of them out there. We do have young professional group. We have several different, we have our YAC that are even younger than that.
Right.
That do that. And it's just, how do we get them to come out and be part of the process? Because I know you do. You want to be part of it.
Right.
But how do we figure a way to reach you while still giving you the ability to do what you have to do to make a living? Because when you're done running your business, a lot of you guys still have young kids because you're still young.
Right.
And it's like, I gotta go home and take care of my kids now. I ain't got time to come into the evening. So that's why a lot of times we don't reach out.
No, I mean, and even today, I went live. That's a simple thing that you guys can do on, when you guys are having these meetings and stuff like that. And you can have that traffic of what people are saying and what the conversation is, just off the top of my head.
addressing. So that was, very, very valid points, and thank you. He mentioned a lot of those things, I won't, belabor that point, but the task force, we also, they're small now, but we also talked about, and I think it's being evaluated with regards to bringing a substation back to the downtown area. There used to be a police station there, and of course, they ultimately moved back to Featherline. So we actually did have that conversation about that as part of our initiative, as part of our revitalization. So I do want you to know that conversation is happening. Our police chief is very much engaged in that conversation. We're just trying to figure out how and we can make that work and where it goes and everything else, but that is on the table right now. So yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, Ken Sue Richardson. Did I get that right?
No, sir.
I'm sorry, I apologize. You can correct me.
Hi, my name is Kenza Richardson. There's two areas that I wanted to bring up regarding the vision of the city. That's the homelessness and, of course, downtown, which seems to be the very hot topic of the night. I know you touched bases about the homelessness, and my church is located downtown. It's actually right next to the Friends in Crisis Shelter. And we do a lot of community outreach every week, providing breakfast, lunch, and free clothes every Saturday to the community. It doesn't have to be in the shelter. But my greatest concern coming forth into the year, and I hope when I look at the 2022 comprehensive plan, it addresses it, is the homelessness and the heat issue that we had last year. That was overwhelming to see, you know, if you have a heart, a passion, and to see that every day, especially when you're going to church, Bible study, to see that I hope that the community has plans in place to address that, because it's only gonna be a few months before it's gonna get hot again, and the last thing we need is to have the same issue happening again. We do need a place for the homeless to at least stay during the day, because there's this gentleman who is also in a chair that sits on the corner of 10th Street, right across from the Domino's restaurant, Domino's. He is there every day religiously, just sitting there by the tree. And it's just so hurtful to see, you know, someone that's in need like that and has no place to go and no place to shelter, you know, no water or anything. So we really, as a city, need to address that, even if it's just giving them a place where they can get water in a shaded area. That's better than what they have now. Regarding to downtown, I know we talked a lot about traffic and getting traffic. Because my church is down there, I do go down there Mondays, Wednesdays, different times. But the problem is a lot of the businesses that are there, to me, some of them don't foster for me to stay there. What I'm trying to say is, like, I walk by, there's a finance corporation. They close at 5, but I'm like, it's 6 o'clock. What if I wanna, you know, just go to a boutique, see some clothes, you know, just walk around and just see something that's open that makes me just wanna walk through because the window enticed me. There's nothing like that, just dark. It's dark. But but the stores aren't open. They're not the type of stores that would be open at that time for me to want to, hey, let me go check and see what's over there. Now, I did go to a play. I'm not saying that there wasn't events. Like, I went to a play a couple weeks ago. That was nice. But I'm a military brat. I've been in California, I've been in North Carolina. They all had downtowns, and they all had some kind of gimmick or some characteristic that was the main core, and that's what drew people there. Like, in California, you got the Gaslight District. In San Diego, you know, you got Balboa Avenue, different museums and art galleries. Jacksonville, they had annual festivals that were really big, like Shrimp Festival. You know, just major things that drew like crowds of people. And I have been to some fairs that have been downtown, but they seem, they're not supported by the community. So I don't know if it's lack of advertising, not hitting the right target, but I think that for business to be successful, that has to be fixed. Because then you'll get people wanting to start their business here. Oh man, it was on and popping last week downtown. You know, I hit and made like, you know, made good profit, last month. Well, you made good profit, and then that's gonna be like, hey, you know what, maybe I should open my business there, because profit is what draws business. And so you need to have things to bring people there, and when people are there, businesses will come. Okay. That's like, for instance, we have the new Bell County Annex that's being, moved downtown. Right behind it is like a Motel 6 type apartment. And I'm like, that doesn't look pleasing. I'm just saying, it doesn't look pleasing for me to go downtown and then be like, okay, I'm handling my government business, and then bam. I know, like, my parents didn't have this. Downtown is where the theater is. I know the Civic Center is off of W.H. Young, but in most towns, those are downtown. That would have been the hook to get people downtown, but we don't have that opportunity here. So we really do need to be cautious to look at the business mix and what we really want downtown to look like, and try to cater toward making that happen. And I think we'll get there.
So, Ms. Richardson, thank you for your comments. You hit all the nails, I think, on the head with regards to your recommendations. But I just want to let you know that when you talked about what's the draw, what is that's going to be bringing people downtown, and then the planning of the businesses is essential. That's one thing that we've never done here. I'm from Killeen, born and raised, and that's something that we've never done before. That's why we've got Ms. Kate here, where we're all very proud. You've heard some great things about her, but we're glad to have her because that's her job, right? Is to help us do that planning and helping develop those businesses out and with that process. So that is in place, and so that was a great comment that you made mention of there. You mentioned, I want to remind people that there is a Merchants Association for downtown. So if you're not a part of that and you are downtown, please, 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 I'll put you in contact with the folks that can at least connect you back with that group. But partnering with the other people that are there is essential. Now, what you also tapped on, which if everybody's listening, it's really a culture change. And we were saying that here when you were talking about why people aren't open and that prospect. So what we are, again, constantly working on top of everything else is how do we change our culture, our mindset right here in our city. It takes days like today, conversations like we're having now, people like you and the other business owners who are here sharing that information to understand that there are a group of them that are here. There are new tenants coming in very soon that are working on their buildings. They're going to need that network, but then also the city's support to know that they're going to be opening their doors and that there are going to be that walkability factor we are working on. We're working on funding for a park, even in that area, Veterans Memorial Park in that downtown area, that's going to help do exactly what you're talking about. So I just want to encourage you to keep encouraging us, but to know that those things are in the process. Again, we are actually doing a lot of great changes. You mentioned something on homelessness. I really wanted to touch on that. We do care about our homeless. And again, some things that we're not chartered to do, we have taken under consideration. But I will also continue to challenge the organizations that are here to step out of their silos, please, and help us with those. And there are a lot of great organizations that help with the heating, cooling stations on top of what the city does do. But I also challenge those organizations, to your point, to get ready and help step up and do what they are also called to do as part of their mission and their vision for that particular cause. But thank you so much for your feedback.
Tony Ringgold.
Hey y'all. I just want to say I am so happy. I am tickled pink. Today I got my certificate of occupancy for we have been working really hard over in Space Create. I was being nosy tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know we used to have a town hall. I said, look at all these cars. You know, I'm right across the street. So I said, let me pull up, see what's going on. I'm glad I came in. I came in late because we've been burning the midnight oil over there. We're getting ready for our grand opening, which will be next week, November 4th and 5th. We're doing a ribbon cutting, and you know we have to have a block party, right? So we're blocking off. We're gonna have a whole lot of fun things going on in downtown. We're super excited about all of that. And I just wanted to take some time. I missed a lot of stuff, but I just wanted to publicly, all the people, where's the camera? Is that, hey, Killeen.
that baby, okay? And the reason why I say that is because, y'all know, I am so grateful for the grant. It has allowed me not only to obtain a building, but to own 3 buildings. Hello, all right. Yes, that's right. Three, right? It's given me opportunities that I didn't know how I was gonna be able to make it happen. Not only that, I have a full team that I'm able to pay, right? So we're creating jobs. We have completed our renovations. Space Create itself, the business model is fantastic. We have booked film companies to come in, yes. They have paid in advance. We have an event the day after the grand opening that's sold out, okay, in our event center. So I know that a lot of what we're trying to do here in the city is gonna take some time. But I just want to encourage everybody here on the council and anybody that's under the sound of my voice that we are making progress. I am the evidence of it. My company is the evidence of it. I'm not gonna lie, when the grant first came out, I was one of those folks that was afraid. I was like, oh, we got a new downtown Killeen. I was like, ooh, that's free money though. What we gonna do, Tony? You know? And I said, well, hey, free money. Get out here and make it happen. You got these dreams, girl, and you know how to fight. So, I'm just like, but at the end of the day, I do know how to fight. But at the end of the day, the opportunities that have been given to me, to Ms. Cooper here, to others, and honey, let me tell you, I'm one of them young folks, right? Them Kool-Aid pickles, bussin'. Y'all going over there in the neighborhood? Is the neighborhood there? Mm-hmm. So I think in saying that, even plugging her business, but understanding that, I think it's really important. I'm gonna be a part of I wanna become a part of the Merchant Association. I think it's really important for the city and for the businesses in the downtown area to connect in a real way. We need to know, we need to be in each other's business. And I think that one of the most important components, shout out to Lavalis, I see him working very hard, is the social media. My business, Space Create, it's the buzz and everything has been through social media. The support has been crazy, and it's social media. And so I say that to say, if we can get our businesses together and really support one another, it's gonna take not just saying, hey, council, make this happen, throw some money this way. We can put a bunch of money in different places, but if we're not really out here boots on ground, really making real connections, doing business with each other and helping to promote and build each other, when really, what's the point? So I just wanna say that as well. My biggest question would be, again, and I think we kind of addressed it already, is just what can we do to connect more with law enforcement? So as you all know, I have a lot of money in Space Create and a lot of equipment. And I did my due diligence with the security and 5 cameras everywhere, right? However, you know, that does worry me a bit when the young lady, she's talking about, you know, the crime and things of that nature. I would love to maybe set up something where we can actually create some relationships with the law enforcement, not just say, hey, y'all, come look at our building, but actually know some names, have some contacts.
You're already a minute over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. But in this last budget, the council approved 5 new positions in the police department that'll be devoted to downtown. But in the interim, they've already moved another task force to begin working downtown. But when those 5 are hired and assigned downtown, you'll see a lot more of that happening to know the individual businesses.
Thank you. And I just want to say, joining the merchant committee downtown, you have individuals that's members that's been in business for over 10, 20, 30 years. They have the experience to help you, just to have a role model. And Mrs. Ringo and Mrs. Cooper, You are our success story. Anyone that received a grant, please come back like tonight and give us updates to encourage other small business owners that may want to take that leap of faith that you can do it. I thank you all. And Ms. Daiquiri, you're right. You're doing a great job. I call it Ms. Daiquiri. You are doing an excellent job. And that's just showing everyone that the grants and the revenue that we invested with the ARPA funding, it didn't go in vain because we're seeing success with it. We made some power moves. We're some change agents up here. Come on, Council, throw your hand up. We change agents. That we're making a difference with the revenue that has been given to us in a positive, impactful way. And I just want to say thank y'all for going out there and making it happen in our community and bring along every other young person that may be interested in a business. And I'm going to give it to our moderator because he's looking.
Real quick, I just want to add to what the mayor hit the nail on the head as far as, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. You heard the term free money, and I know she was just joking along with that. This is not free money. This is an investment. This is an investment with a long-term dividend that we anticipate to see. We're not just giving away money for no reason at all. This is an investment in our city, in renovating our downtown, and to bringing people back in and getting them interested in putting Killeen on the map, bringing some of the culture that you spoke to. So the mayor was spot on. It's not, it's an investment. And everything that we do as far as money spent, that's the way I make decisions. And I'm pretty sure that everyone here, when we make decisions about spending money, there's an ultimate end goal that we want to see a return on. Whether it be just in quality of life. Now there's not a monetary number that you can stick to that, but if you're improving somebody's quality of life, how can you put a dollar amount on that? So when we're making these decisions as far as spending money, that's what we're ultimately looking at.
Mayor and Council, if you don't mind, that there was a few comments that never got answered at the beginning. And the discussion about the city spending money on engineers or architects, or the word consulting has been used a lot. But the alternative to that is either you don't engineer roads, you don't engineer water and sewer lines, you don't engineer drainage, or you hire your own firm. So are we gonna create our own street engineering firm, our own water line engineering firm, our own drainage engineering firm? That is incredibly expensive. I don't know which is more expensive, not doing it right or creating your own firm. The Texas Department of Transportation is one of the largest transportation construction firms in the world. And they contract out when they design a highway, when they design a farm to market road. They contract it out with engineers, whether you're the city of Houston or the city of Dallas or the city of Parker Heights, they do the same thing. They don't hire their own engineers and keep them on staff in case they need to design a road. That's the most expensive way to do it. So, anyway, just that there's sound thoughts behind that. And the last thing I'd just say is one more time on the big picture. There's a lot of problems that have been building this community for many, many decades over the way things are constructed, the way things are built, the way neighborhoods are designed. And this council has made significant changes, but you're not gonna see it happen overnight. We didn't get to where we are overnight. It took since the 70s. If you wanna look at the north part of the town, while they have all the parks, the city used to develop neighborhoods. Now we started building subdivisions and forgot to make neighborhoods. And this council's trying to change that, or they are changing it, but you're just not gonna see it overnight. So, I'll end with that.
We'll be around if you have any questions.
You want my contact information afterwards, or
I'm just asking. Nothing in particular, curiosity. Satisfaction brought it back. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. You have a good one.
I used to park this car. Hold over.
The winter, consider the winter season.
Yeah, I would definitely love to talk. Okay, cool. Take care.
You dress it up, but you can't clean it up. I didn't expect. But now, when he started the gas thing, he helped over how long did he ask you to go through all that stuff? Here's all controversy. All that, we love the veterans, we love the military, and all that, that he just.
I've been so out of it.
How many times, you know, that's engineer did his name later as a factor. If you went, say you went council 4 years, if you went first time, okay, let me give you an idea of what's in there. And then 5, 6 years, you know, we're talking about, say, a total. No, right, I'm trying to say something that's common. There's nothing people. Like a supernumerary list, that would be fair.
I know this.
And then he basically shit to my hat, and I'm supposed to tell him, thank you, it's much better. No, not doing it, not doing it. Like I said, we can just, yes, but I'm just saying, but that class was stuff, I mean, when he starts out with that class, okay, and the fact of the matter, all over the stuff, just summer, I know exactly where he's from. People I answer to, you're checking up on him, he's not. He's absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Let's act tough. I've even been to his hometown. I know all over Portland. I've been all over the world. Johnny Cash, he got I'm not just trying to catch you. I tell you, I prefer the nightlife in Old Town San Juan, or the daytime life, the beaches of the harbor. And I can tell you that you want to be on Highway 35 between the 2 points before it gets too dark and when traffic lights just start flashing. And traffic, if you've ever driven in Italy, it's just a challenge. I've been there, I know the bricks, I know the streets.
Hey, good talk.
That's my whole thing. That was his default. That was his first round chamber, was to go to that and start going, name calling and all this and that.
Yeah, that nice.
Corner one, Mr.
Love.
I wasn't gonna go, I wasn't ready to go Connecticut, but if he even looked like it, it would be a whole different story. All I would have been done was responding disproportionately.